for taking the time today to attend our webinar, DNA to Relationship Testing for Family Law. I'm Liam Feasey, I'm the Client Services Manager, and I'll be delivering today's webinar. Before we start, a few points to note. All attendees have been set to mute. This is to reduce any background noise and to ensure you can all hear me clearly. This is a live broadcast, so unfortunately we won't be taking any questions during today's webinar. However, if you do have any questions, please feel free to email us after the event and we'll be able to respond accordingly. You can email us at experts@lextox.co.uk. Today's webinar will last approximately 20 minutes. We are recording it and we'll share the link with you post-event. Okay, so let's make a start. So today's agenda will be focusing on DNA testing options to help establish family relationships. So we'll cover paternity, maternity, prenatal and siblingship testing. And then we'll go through testing of other family members. I'll then go through the chain of custody procedures to ensure legally defensible results, and then to summarize with the key points. So first of all, paternity testing. A paternity test is used to resolve any questions or doubts relating to the paternity of a child. A child inherits half of his or her genetic makeup from each biological parent. So the test works by comparing the DNA profile of a child with the DNA profiles of his or her mother and alleged father. The DNA analysis looks for patterns of inheritance among the individual's DNA profiles and can conclusively determine whether the alleged father is the biological father of the tested child. So a standard paternity test involves the child, the mother, and the alleged father. If the child's mother is unavailable for testing, we can often perform a motherless paternity test, and this does involve looking for additional markers. Maternity testing can conclusively determine whether a woman is the biological mother of a child. The DNA maternity test can be useful for individuals who need to provide proof of their mother-child relationship to support immigration applications, those who have been separated and reunited years later and would like to confirm that they are biologically related as mother and child, or where there's a need to verify whether the proper embryo is implanted into a mother's uterus during in vitro fertilization. Like a paternity test, a maternity test works by comparing the DNA profile of a child, an alleged mother, and when available, the child's father. A fatherless maternity test can be undertaken when the child's father is not available for testing. The genetic profiles of a biologically related mother and child will show predictable patterns of DNA inheritance. Now, on occasion, we need to establish the paternity of the alleged father prior to the birth of the child, and this is where prenatal testing is useful, as a prenatal test is an accurate and non-invasive way to determine the paternity prior to a child's birth. A mouth swab is required from the alleged father, and a blood sample is required from the arm of the biological mother. The test then analyzes free-floating fetal DNA from the mother's plasma and compares this to the mother's DNA profile. Once the fetus's profile is then determined, it can then be compared to the alleged father to determine paternity. The mother must be at least 8 weeks pregnant, and this must be confirmed by a medical professional, such as a GP. And testing is then able to be undertaken on multiple pregnancies, such as twins or triplets. Siblingship testing can help two alleged siblings verify whether they are actually in fact siblings. The test is often performed when an alleged father is unavailable for a paternity test and his possible children would like to know if they have the same father. A half-siblingship test can be performed when two alleged siblings know they have different mothers, but would like to know if they have the same biological father. Or They know they have different fathers and wish to establish if they have the same mother. Siblingship tests require complex DNA analysis, and we encourage the alleged sibling's mother to participate in the testing if possible. The mother's participation helps us eliminate the maternal contribution to the children's DNA profiles, and this helps focus our analysis on whether the alleged siblings' remaining DNA could have come from the same biological father. Okay, so testing for other family members. A grandparent test can determine whether a child is biologically related to the alleged grandparents. The test is based on the fact that a child inherits half of his or her genetic profile from each biological parent. When one of a child's parents is unavailable for testing, we can look to the grandparents to determine whether they have contributed DNA to the child's genetic profile. An avuncular test can determine if a child is the biological niece or nephew of the alleged aunt or uncle. This is a viable option when the only available relative is a brother or sister of the alleged father or mother. Cases that involve indirect relationship testing, including avuncular, single grandparentage, and siblingship tests, will only provide a statistical likelihood that gives evidence to support the tested relationship. A test of this nature will not directly exclude the relationship. The test merely gives the odds of the relationship based on the purported relationship and the systems tested. Now, in tests of this nature, the result issued will be between 0 and 100%, and a probability of relationship that is 95% or higher provides evidence that the relationship is very likely. The higher the likelihood, the more evidence there is to provide to support the relationship. It is essential to clearly define the relationship in question and how the tested parties are believed to be related. Now, for test results to stand up in court, they need to follow strict chain of custody procedures that show samples were collected by a neutral third party, such as a doctor, a nurse, or a Lextox sample collector. The tested parties were positively identified at their sample collection appointment. Samples were securely sealed at the collection site and securely packaged for shipping to the laboratory. Once received by the laboratory, they are then thoroughly inspected for the integrity and any evidence of tampering. Okay. So DNA test results can be used to settle family law matters, such as childcare proceedings, child custody and visitation disputes, and adoption. It can be used to resolve inheritance disputes and satisfy immigration requirements. A number of tests are available depending on the nature of the testing and which family members are available. Strict chain of custody processes need to be followed if the results are to be used in court or by other government departments. At Lextox, we provide legally defensible DNA paternity and relationship test results and reports in 5 working days or less. The prenatal paternity test does take slightly longer and takes about 7 working days. DNA paternity and relationship testing is undertaken at quality-assured Ministry of Justice and ISO 17025 accredited DNA testing laboratories. And we can arrange the sample collection appointment immediately and usually collect the samples within 48 hours notice. Your dedicated client support team will manage your case from start to finish with the commitment to meeting your deadlines, and all pricing is in accordance with the LAA codified rates. Okay. So that concludes today's event. I would like to thank you again for joining today's webinar, and we hope to see you at our next event called Drug and Alcohol Testing, Delivering Legally Defensible Results, which will be held on the 22nd of May at 12 p.m. Again, thank you for your time. If you do have any questions, please feel free to email us at experts@lextox.co.uk.